This is Minecraft's impossible prison. It's the command block prison. And this is one of the coolest prisons I've ever seen. It's equipped with deadly traps, really interesting puzzles, and much more. Right as soon as I spawned in, I was inside of a bedrock box. I started instantly by looking around me. It didn't look like there were any secret passages or secret items, and in front of me there were 2 double iron doors. Luckily, I don't actually have to do anything except break them. After breaking the iron doors, I walked down the hallway to find a couple of items: a furnace, chest, brewing stand, and a cauldron. I walked over and decided to open up the chest. Inside the chest were random items, but after observing them further, I realized that I might actually have to make a potion. But there was one problem with that. I didn't have any fuel. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself why I would actually need fuel. Well, you see, the sand in my inventory actually looks like it's to make glass bottles. After that, I can use the brewing sand to make awkward potions and then create a potion of slow falling using my phantom memory.
Or even crazier idea, scale down the wall with the extra blocks again.
After jumping into the next room, I looked around and all I found was this one grass block. I decided to pick it up to see if there was anything under it, but there really wasn't anything down there. So I was thinking to myself, what was I supposed to do in this situation? I mean, I'd explored all 3 rooms I was able to get to, so what was I supposed to do? But that was when I realized something.
I had a very good idea. I used F5. See, using F5 gave me a whole new perspective and I was able to see a chest I couldn't have seen before.
You know how I said earlier I couldn't get down? Well, that wasn't actually true. I was starting to form an idea in my head on what I could do. Now, this may seem crazy to some of y'all, but did you know logic actually negates damage? I'm not talking about And just like that, I was successfully able to land in the very bottom part of the lava and avoid taking too much damage. Once I was finally at the bottom, I decided to look around. I then looked to my left and actually saw a sign that said "Place boats here." That was a huge hint. That was implying that I would need a boat. After looking at the sign, I walked to the corner of the room and noticed a zombie that was called Canadian's Friend. I put down one of my sands and got a better look at it, and it actually looked like it was covering something. And after I hit it a few times, it turns out it was actually stepping on top of a pressure plate. I decided to try to kill it because it looked like it was activating something that I would need to deactivate later if I wanted to continue this prison. After I killed the zombie, I decided to pick up the rotten flesh so whatever was being activated would no longer be activated, but that's when I noticed a hole in the wall that had a chest at the very end of it. I decided to open it and I found 7 wind charge inside of it, and that's when I realized that's how I would get back up. If you don't know what the wind charge is, it basically... I collected all of my blocks and then got near the wall, ready to scale it and land on the bedrock platform using my wind charges. I successfully made it back up, and sure enough, when I walked back into the second room that I had found, there was a sapling sitting right on the ground that it came out of a dispenser in the ceiling above. I then made my way back to the room where the dirt block was, and got ready to grow my tree so I could make my boat.
I then used the sapling until it grew into a tree, and not only was I able to get some sticks and wood from it, but I was also able to get some saplings in case I needed more wood in the future.
Tree later, and had some leftover bone meal in the process. After getting back to the second room, I broke my crafting table and then put my sand in the furnace so I could make a glass bottle in hopes to get a slow falling potion for whatever I would need that for later. Once my glass was ready, I then set down my crafting table and proceeded to craft my glass bottles, and then I went over to the cauldron, filled them up with water, and put them in the brewing stand. Then I took the netherwort that was in the chest originally and started to turn my water bottles into awkward potions. In the meantime, I decided to check out the suspicious looking crafting table that was in the 1x1 hole. I couldn't walk into it, so I had to craft some wooden trapdoors to get inside of it so I could get inside crawl mode. Once my trapdoor was ready, I flipped it and I went into crawl mode and then crawled forward to see what was behind the crafting table. Yeah, so I don't really know what happened to the footage, but it got corrupted or something, but spoiler alert, there was nothing behind the crafting table.
Are you serious?
After my awkward potions finished up brewing, I then put in the phantom membrane and started to make my slow falling potions so I could finally leave this floor. After I got my slow falling potions, I was sure to break every single block in the room because I might need it later on throughout the prison. After checking and grabbing everything, I returned to the room and got ready to land in the lava so I could negate fall damage. I didn't want to waste a slow falling potion just yet, so I got ready to jump off, and sure enough, once I was ready, I leaped off the platform, hit the lava below, and landed on the ground safe and sound. Once I was on the very ground level, I waited for my fire damage to wear off, and then I walked over to where the sign was. I was sure to break the sign because, while it may seem surprising, some of the simplest items can have a critical use later on, so after I broke it, I got ready and placed my boat. Now, some of you might be confused on how a boat can help me. There's what I did. Okay, this next room was weird. I know a lot of you probably don't even know what or how this is, but this is with no mods or even commands. This is what's known as an infinity room, and it looks unescapable until you realize, oh, it's just an item frame and maps. Yeah, so the way this works is you build a giant platform. I continued to break more item frames until it revealed a room behind glass, which would be easy to break, but it still didn't leave yet. I was sure to collect all the item frames and maps because there could be secrets behind them, and I might need them for later. After I collected all of them, I broke the glass and continued into the next room. The next room was weird. It was really big and all it seemed to have was a chest with a water bucket inside, but this would actually be very useful and handy. I searched throughout the room, but all I could really find was a 1x1 block hole that I could only get into by either A, using my trapdoors, or B, use my water bucket. After deciding to go inside the hole, I started going into crawl mode and started exploring. I kept crawling through the area I was in. It looked like some sort of maze I could only access through by crawling. I kept crawling until I noticed an area that caught my eye. It was an area with cobwebs. While it did make me crawl slower, I realized I could actually collect these. I went back to the big weird room I had found at the beginning and crafted a wooden sword using some wood that I had from the tree earlier. Then, after crafting my sword, I broke the cobwebs and was able to get 4 string from it, the perfect amount to make a block of wool. I kept crawling through the tunnel until I noticed an area that had command blocks at it. I was assuming that this is where I had to go, but I was still sure to check every single area of the tunnel to make sure I wasn't missing any critical items that I may need later for the escape. After that, I decided to make my way down the hall, and then I stepped on a pressure plate which is on top of the command block. After I was teleported, I had realized that all of my items out of my inventory had been taken. Except my water bucket and the 4 string that I had, but then that's when I saw it. The exit to the prison. I would finally be able to get out. I did have a water bucket, but I decided I was going to escape this prison the way it was intended, so I took my string and crafted the wool block I needed to get up on top of the platform so I could get out. The last thing I needed to do now was MLG outside the prison so I could finally escape. I successfully landed the MLG. This allowed me to escape the prison and finally get out of Minecraft's impossible prison, the command block prison. But don't go yet. I have a deal for you guys. Look, I'll admit it. This prison isn't actually impossible, and I'm sure I made a lot of mistakes, so I want you guys to make a video and tell me the mistakes I made. Point out some things that I could have done better, and everybody message Canadian, the famous prison escape artist, because I want to be in one of his videos and have him review this prison. You guys have a great day. Like and subscribe, and goodbye.